businesses to grab takeaway sandwiches. She was already sweaty as she tried to keep up with the constant stream of orders, and her feet ached in her worn trainers. She had other pairs at home that she could wear, but she didn't like to, in case her colleagues thought she was being paid more than them, or in case the cafe owner, Bridget Wibberley, thought she wasn't in need of the pay rise she'd requested at her 6-monthly review. In all fairness, Bridget was a good boss, kind and understanding, but even the rise she had agreed to hadn't really helped Joanne. Things had become far too messy for that. "Penny for them." The familiar voice cut through Joanne's thoughts, and she looked up to find her friend Roxie Walker peering curiously at her. She took in Roxie's flushed cheeks, pink and yellow lycra outfit, and long black hair pulled into a high ponytail with a wide headband that matched her lycra. "Hi, Roxie. Have you been working out?" "I went for a run. I feel fabulous, darling. I thought I'd grab a coffee before heading home to shower. Skinny latte?" Joanne asked. "Please." Roxie pulled a bank card from her purse and held it to the reader. "Are you all right today?" Joanne nodded as she made the coffee, taking care to use skimmed milk because Roxie would have a fit if she ended up with full fat. "I'm fine, just a bit tired, really. I didn't sleep that well last night." "Sorry to hear that." Roxie frowned. "You should come for a run with me. Exercise is wonderful for improving sleep quality." Joanne laughed, but inside she found herself wishing she had half Roxie's energy. Working long hours at the cafe where she was on her feet all day left her exhausted most evenings, and although she tried to get to yoga classes at the village hall on Saturday mornings, apart from that she didn't exercise at all, unless you counted walking from the lounge to the kitchen to get the biscuit tin. She'd often thought that standing up all day should burn enough calories to make her slimmer. It worked for Bridget, who in her mid-40s was more than 10 years older than Joanne, but then she had a feeling that her boss wasn't constantly stuffing comfort food into her mouth. Not that Joanne was huge, she knew that, but she had gone up 2 sizes in the last year, depending on where she bought her clothes, and she was starting to worry that she'd keep getting bigger if she didn't do something about it soon. It wasn't even that she didn't like being curvy, because she did, and at 5'10" she was tall enough to carry some extra weight. But with her mum being diabetic, Joanne knew that she had to be careful. Joanne's mum had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in her 50s, and she fought a constant battle to try to stay healthy. Joanne was at risk of developing the disease because it could be hereditary, and she knew that lifestyle could play a big part in it too. Every week began with her vowing to eat healthily and to do more exercise, but by Wednesday her willpower tended to wane, and by the time Friday came around she was tucking back into cakes and biscuits again. The muffin she'd had this morning was one of her mum's healthy bakes, made with whole wheat flour, low-fat spread, and sweetened with fruit juice. But even so, Joanne couldn't undo the family-sized bar of chocolate she'd eaten in bed the night before, or the bacon and sausage roll she'd inhaled when she arrived at work. "There you go, Roxie." Joanne set the skinny latte on the counter. "Glenn's not with you." She peered over the counter, looking for the small pug. "Not today. She's at home with Fletcher. We're still enjoying the novelty of having him around on Monday mornings." Joanne smiled. She knew how delighted Roxie had been when Fletcher had taken voluntary redundancy that summer. He'd always worked long hours in the city, and Roxie had missed him. But then he decided that enough was enough, and that he wanted to spend more time at home with his wife and dog. It was working out well for them. "Well, have a great day." Joanne nodded as Roxie blew her a kiss, then sashayed out of the cafe, her small, pert bottom more like that of a teenager than a woman approaching 50. "1 breakfast baguette and 1 cheese omelette," Daniel Pugh, the cafe chef, called from the hatch that opened up from the kitchen into the cafe. "Coming!" Joanne picked up the plates, then carried them over to the corner table, where an elderly couple were waiting. She plastered on her best smile and decided to try to focus on her job and to forget about her worries until later.